The Disappearance of Beaumont Children. On January 25, 1966, in Adelaide, in Australia, three children went out to the beach and never seen again. The Australia's most notorious cold case. Jane, 9 years old. Arna, 7 years old. Grant, 4 years old. Unlike the modern world back in the days, kids were allowed to go out by themselves and then play and then come back home. And it all started with this. Three children left the house in the morning of January 26, 1966 to go to the Glenelg Beach. It was 5 minutes bus ride. The family was from the Adelaide suburb of Somerton Park. It wasn't unusual for children to go out on their own. Jane considered a very responsible child, and she apparently is very mature and has 15 years old mindset. So three of them had been to the beach together the day before as well. And also the day before, Jim, which is the dad, had informed the children how far they could swim and not to talk to strangers. Nancy, who is the mother of the children, expected children to be back by noon. And when they didn't come back by noon, she wasn't too worried. She assumed that, they'd probably get on the bus at 2 p.m. And then when 2:15 p.m. came, the children hasn't came back yet. And Nancy started to worry. A friend who was over at Nancy's place offered a ride to the beach to look for children, but Nancy refused due to thinking kids would walk into the door anytime soon. Jim, who is the dad, came home at 3 p.m. From work, and there was no sign of children. And they went out to the beach and looking for the kids. According to that time of the period, during the interview and the news, Jim, which is the dad, had said, "I knew there was something wrong if they weren't home. The thought going through my mind was that they had been taken away. I didn't think they could have been drowned because there were so many people down there at the beach." At 5 p.m., Jim went over to the police station and reported children missing. But within 24 hours, the case has been reported Australia's-wide concerns were growling for well-being of the children. The parents across the nation were shaken and fearing for future safety for their own kids. This case had a profound effect on parents in the 1960s, given at the time there was such a carefree approach to letting kids roam free in public spaces. People rarely locked their doors or windows either. It became cautionary tales, and kids of the 60s grew up in the shadow for a long time. It was a beyond tragic for the Beaumont family. Through some witnesses, they heard that around noon, the children went to the nearby Wenzel Bakery, where they typically bought their lunch after the beach. The eldest Jane purchased pastries for herself and her siblings, as well as a meat pie with some money. Nancy, however, had never given Jane a big money. She had handed her daughter some coins that morning, enough for the children, bus ride, and their lunch. This money, as well as a meat pie, which Jane and her siblings don't normally order, were interpreted by police as a sign that the unidentified man was still with the Beaumont at lunchtime. And through the numbers of witnesses, police were able to put pieces together the last known movements of the children. They were last seen at Collie Reserve nearby beach playing with a tall blonde man who appeared to be 30s. Investigators, police, and the parents continuously kept looking for the children nightlessly, but the kids were never found, nor any clothes, shoes, or bags. They even used help of psychics. Psychic Gerald Crosset claimed to have vision of the children, fate, and flew to Australia from Dutch in November 1966. According to the psychic Crosset, the children had been trapped under the floor of an old brick factory that was being used as a warehouse. With no evidence other than psychic claims, authorities refused to get involved, but concerns the citizens. So they raised up to $40,000 to get the job done, and excavations under the watchful eye of television cameras began in 1967, and they had found nothing. Over the years, the results were countlessly false-led, conspiracy theories, and hoaxes. In 1970s, due to pressure of losing their 3 kids and ultimately devastation to their marriages, and they ended up separating. One of the biggest suspects is Harry Phipps. Harry Phipps grew up in Glen Elk and was a businessman and factory owner. There were charges of sexual abuse leveled at Phipps by his own son, as well as a young woman who charged she was raped by Phipps in the 1970s. This suspect and suspicion was featured in the book of The Satan Man, uncovering the mystery of the missing Beaumont children. In 2004, Phipps died. In 2013, part of the Adelaide factory was excavated after 2 brothers alleged that Phipps had been dig a pit in the property on January 26 in 1966. Nothing was unearthed. Phipps' grandson, Nick, said the current affair in 2018 that his father Phipps' son had alleged he saw Phipps and the Beaumont children at Phipps' home the day they disappeared. The father was actually in a tree house. At the property, he saw them come in and saw them, and getting carried out and put into the back of the Cadillac, Nick had informed. In 2019, Nancy passed away in Adelaide nursing home, aged 92. She died not knowing what happened to her children. Jim passed away in April 2023, aged 97. A funeral notice has said he was the loved father of Jane, Arna, and Grant, reunited with him in heaven. For surviving Beaumont family, they had never given up hope, nor have investigators working on one of the longest-running cases in the nation's history. What's for the certain is that the Beaumont family will forever be burned into the collective conscious of Australia. Thank you for watching, listening, and don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. Till next time.